Welcome to Forensic Friday,
where we examine the intersection of true crime, psychology, and the heart of being human in the middle of it all. Well, hello, forensic friend and friends.
None of us are sleeping.
No, Nat was so tired today that she ordered any session, herself, myself, and the client, all coffee.
I did.
Which was
I
very,
did.
very kind. I appreciated that. I needed it to get through the day.
I
Nat and
did.
we had a pretty wild day today. So we're going to do an episode soon about some of the things that happened today that were very interesting. But
Yes, just to give a teaser,
just
it's
to give a teaser.
when women are the predominant abuser.
Yes. Nat and I heard just something that we don't typically hear in terms of a narrative
Hmm.
from an abusive partner.
Hmm.
And I think it's going to be a good discussion. So we're going to do that this weekend. So that'll drop at some point. But
Yes.
what we wanted to talk about for this mini is just the stress that so many people are under and give you some tangible resources.
Hmm.
With the government shutdown, one of our dear friends and colleagues is furloughed currently. And
Hmm.
he told me today in passing in a meeting that this is one of the longest furlough. It is the longest furlough, I believe, that we've ever had. And
Yeah.
for those of you who don't know, some of you know all too well. For those of you who don't know, when you're furloughed, you don't get paid. Now, typically, historically, when people go back to work, they usually will get back pay from when
Hmm.
they've been furloughed. However, the longer it goes, the harder it is to do that. And it's just hard on people. And it's a very jarring thing. And then also having SNAP benefits on the line. There's just things happening that are affecting people. And so this is not to be
Hmm.
political at all. Nat and I just love people, and we're talking to all different kinds of people. We're also in a state with a lot of military bases. Garrett and I, our whole area is a lot of retired military and then also
Hmm.
military families. And so it's been on my mind. I know it's been on your mind. And so
Hmm.
we just wanted to offer a little bit of a psychological input and maybe some resources and not. Garrett was so cute. He came in and he was talking to us and he was, don't tell him everything's going to be okay, which we don't do that anyway.
No.
But I really hear that. And Garrett
Hmm.
works with Space Force and Air Force and private sector companies. He does a lot of interacting with them. So he's noticed and has felt that stress that people are under too. So number one thing that I want you guys to keep in mind if you're listening to this and you are supporting people, loving people, are furloughed yourself, are dealing with potentially losing SNAP benefits, are experiencing all of the feelings associated with that, I guess our number one thing is this is not a personal failure on your part. It's a big systemic issue. And
Hmm.
so it's even bigger than politics, honestly. This is like a massive scale problem. And this
Hmm.
happens all the time. It just doesn't usually go on quite this long. And what I'm seeing is the longer it goes on, the more anxious, understandably, people feel, and the less tethered they feel to their security, their support
Hmm.
people, it's getting scary out there. And whenever we're talking about basic needs, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, when we're talking about can I make my mortgage payment? Can I go to the grocery store? Am I going to have food for my kids?
Hmm.
Am I going to get back pay or am I going to have to just somehow fill this gap? Like there's just a lot of
Right.
uncertainty. And even outside of the furloughs and SNAP, it's a tough economy right now. So we also have layoffs and all that stuff happening. And so one of the biggest thing to keep in mind is I'm responding normally to an abnormal situation.
Hmm.
It is
Mhm.
abnormal. It is it's somewhat normal for our government to freeze each other out on both
Yeah.
sides of the aisle at different points. That's not uncommon.
Yeah.
What's uncommon and abnormal is to all of a sudden overnight not work.
Mm-hmm.
And then the thing I was talking about with our friend today, Nat, is the minute they turn it back on, you just go back to work.
Right.
Almost like nothing happened. And so for people who've picked up a side gig or
Mm-hmm.
are trying to just scrap and make ends meet, then all of a sudden it's like, see you back at work. It's wild. That's a wild experience for people, you
Yeah,
know?
it's jarring. It's jarring, it's inconsistent, and yeah, it's unpredictable, which is not good for anyone's nervous system.
No, and one of the top 10 stressors you can ever have up there with your family members dying is losing a job because it's
Mm-hmm.
so destabilizing,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know? So
Yeah.
just remember, you're responding normally to an abnormal situation. Your nervous system should be on fire
Yes.
because the world is a little bit on fire.
Yes.
That's okay.
Would you say
That's
our world's been
normal.
a little on fire for 5 years?
I think the world's been on really since the beginning of time. When you think about it, like ancient Rome was freaking terrifying. Like I
Right.
don't know that it's ever been fun really to be a human. Like being a human is just hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful, but it's hard.
Yeah. I just think since COVID,
Oh yeah.
it's been one thing after another after another. I mean, it's always kind of been that way,
Hmm.
but I think when our world really shut down during that time, it just really, I don't know. I think it dysregulated
Hmm.
our world in a different way than what we've been exposed to before.
One of the trainings now, I don't know if you saw this one from the conference. Just dropped my phone. Sorry if you heard that. Um, one of the trainings from the conference, and I downloaded the materials for you,
Mm-hmm.
was our buddy Aaron Gazelka
Mm,
did a training on supervising and being a therapist in the post-COVID world
mm,
because people just have not fully come back.
mm-hmm,
I don't think. Like we're
mm-hmm,
still finding our way back,
mm-hmm,
in many
mm-hmm.
ways.
Let's get into this. Let's get into some ways that we can be mindful and encourage mindfulness in our people who are having to go through this wild ride right now.
Hmm. So when it comes to, I already did normalize stress response.
Oh, got it. You just added to it. Okay.
Yeah, I just
Cool.
add,
Sorry,
and I will,
Gary.
this is how I go through chapters. It will be Nat and I will be teaching out of a book, and I will summarize 4 pages in like 10 minutes and then have a discussion. And Nat's like, where are we? Like, what is happening?
I know.
So
Janine's like, I started. I'm like, what day
I'm
is it?
already at number 2. I'm looking at you like, girl, when are you going to take over? There's
I
not a
know. You're
signal or
like waiting
anything.
on me, and I'm
Yes,
waiting on you to start. Oh my gosh. How funny.
jump in anytime.
I got us. I got us. People are gonna be like, oh my God, what a shit show.
Oh no,
Sorry,
this is
y'all.
best
Guys, I'm going
again.
off of like no sleep. I was literally falling asleep during my management meeting today. It was not great.
No, I know.
Not a good look.
No.
Uh, so prioritizing psychological safety when it's the basics of feeling threatened, the brain goes into survival mode. So, some really important things are to ask yourself what helps you feel safe today, right? So, I was going to say assessing, not really, but kind of assessing and asking yourself, what's going to help me feel safe? What's going to help me regulate my nervous system? I love this one. What can I control in the next 24 to 72 hours? So I talk about this all the time, whether it's with group members or just regular clients that I meet with, or even just friends who are having a hard time, right? Encouraging, hey, what is it that you can control? We cannot control the government. We cannot control when it opens. We can't control any of that. And so, what are the things that are within your control?
You're so
Right.
much better at this than me.
Oh, honestly though, I don't know why. I think for me it just clicked one day,
Hmm.
and it was like, and it's not always that easy, but I think for me a lot of times it's like when I feel so dysregulated for whatever reason, I have to go back to like, what is it that I literally like, what is it that I can control right now in this moment?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oftentimes it's just taking deep breaths. Ask yourself, where can I reduce uncertainty?
Hmm.
Right? So really asking yourself, what, again, yeah, what is certain in my life?
Well, and where can you advocate? Because I think some
Yeah.
people, there are steps. We talk to people every day. It's like,
Hmm.
okay, what do you qualify for? Can you, sometimes we feel paralyzed. Can I make 4 phone calls to 4 different food banks
Right.
and just see
Right.
really, is there any part of this that I can help
Right.
before I power down
Right.
and freak out? And it's very normal to freak out, but
Yeah.
sometimes you got to take a step too.
Yeah.
And you can reduce uncertainty by grabbing a hold of what you can.
Well, we're gonna get to that.
Mm-hmm.
I think this next part is really key, right? So small stability anchors, finding those. So not getting super out of your routine. Go to bed at a reasonable hour, wake up at a reasonable hour, almost as if you're still going to work, but do something that maybe is productive for you or that's going to fuel your brain, right? If I were out of work right now, I know this would be a really big challenge for me, but I know what would be the best for me is if I woke up, maybe worked out, read something, did, not get on my phone, which I know we'll get more into, but doing something that helps sustain a routine so that when things open back up, it won't be that hard to get back into it. And then schedule specific worry time. Oh, I love this to contain spiraling thoughts. So I actually tell a lot of my people this without like even before all this happened. Allowing yourself a certain amount of time to be really deep in your feels is okay. But if we don't actually set a time boundary around that, that's when we go into crisis mode and that's the dysregulation to our body. So I
And
hope that's helpful.
it can be even tinier. These are
Mm-hmm.
so good, but also like your favorite pajamas,
Mm,
a candle that you don't often burn, but you like the smell of it. Oh my gosh, little things.
mm-hmm.
Heating pad,
Mm-hmm.
your favorite blanket, whatever.
Love it.
You can tell I'm such a little Taurus, but I really do like to be home. And
You're a
sometimes it's those,
homebody.
I am a homebody. I love my home. I love to be surrounded by my predictable things. It makes me very happy
Mm-hmm.
and it makes me feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
No, I was actually just thinking about that. Now that our basement's done,
oh, yes.
it's beautiful. And we have, Press and I created a chore list. And so our house has actually been really clean.
Oh, I love that for
And
you.
it's so nice because I walk in and it's like peaceful.
We'll be right back. You know that group chat where everyone actually gets it? That's Recovery Cast, but in podcast form. Real people sharing their mental health and recovery stories without the Instagram filter. We cover the hard stuff and the weird stuff, and we're not afraid to laugh at ourselves. Recovery Cast Podcast. Real talk, real recovery, actually entertaining. Find Recovery Cast now.
You know what? We did this. It's funny you say that because we had to get ready for the parties.
Mm-hmm.
We had Max, I'll entertain you for 2 seconds. We had Max's 10th birthday and we did an Among Us party. If you don't know what that is, it's a video game. And we
Mm-hmm.
did like party, but like we did like real life Among Us. Like the house was the spaceship and they had t-shirts and we did merch. We did merch for the kids.
So cute.
So cute. Well, watching them was amazing and they cracked us up. Like they were navigating all these things and negotiating rules and all of this stuff. It was
Mm-hmm.
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And our house, we had to get our house really, really picked up, and we've been keeping it up since the
It's
party.
so
And we
nice.
kept it clean, even like right after the party, where I'm typically somebody who's like, let's enjoy each other. We don't need to do this right now, but we've been more
Mm-hmm.
intentional, and I feel better.
Yes.
I
Good.
absolutely feel
That's
better.
how we are.
Yes.
That's exactly how we are. It's been so nice. Press even like scrubbed our fridge.
Oh, when Garrett does that, I mean, that is the most romantic. If
Oh,
a
I
man
was
can scrub a
like,
fridge, it's lovely.
I'm like I
Oh,
love this,
yes.
Anyway.
One other thing to keep in mind as we're kind of working through the list of things that I really hope are helpful, when we have a hard time, it can really feel shameful. Like we can get really paralyzed, particularly when we're struggling financially and we're having a hard time with our identity because we're not maybe showing up to work every day. Maybe we've been laid off or we're not able to pay a bill and we have to ask a family member. And it's so uncomfortable to ask for that. And our society is so individualistic and success oriented, which is not necessarily all bad. When there's a disruption there, we can actually have an identity disruption where we feel like, what am I even doing? What's my purpose?
Mm-hmm.
What am I doing on earth? What's my plan, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And a couple of things that help this primarily um recognizing your value, understanding why you matter as a person is not because of what you do for work or your income. But also, you got to avoid isolation. You have to remember who you are and who loves you. And so,
Mm-hmm.
talk to trusted people.
Mm-hmm.
Practice, I love this, sharing facts versus story.
Mm-hmm.
A fact is my benefits ended. A story is I'm failing my family. I can't provide for my family. So stick to the facts. The government's
Mm-hmm.
wild. They
Mm-hmm.
pay themselves and not always you. And that's
Mm-hmm.
ridiculous. And so that's not your failure. That's not your fault. It's just a factual thing. And then get support from your safe people.
Yeah, I love that. I think, as we've talked a little bit about resourcing, right? Like emotional resourcing, reducing shame, and you already kind of talked some on this, right? Like finding food banks and stuff. So, literally, like food and resources for self-care, right? Finding things that are going to help you still manage you and make you feel, not feel, literally like meet those basic needs. Um, so resource navigation is hard, right? I like what it says here. It says, it's emotional labor. So make sure you chunk it into manageable steps. I think of, when you and I used to work in drug court, we would see this all the time. And we would have to literally sit down with people and almost go into more of a case manager role versus a therapist and help people literally go step by step on how to find food, how to get insurance, right? Medicaid. The amount of times I've helped people walk through the Medicaid steps. It's a pain in the butt, but it's doable, right? And also finding resources. So apply for emergency food benefits, food banks, um, WIC. I don't know what this one is. TEFAP, TFAP. And then local nonprofits. The cool thing where we work is we are actually a nonprofit at Southeast, and we work in a building full of nonprofits. And then
Yeah.
across the parking lot is a nonprofit food bank. I mean, I think all banks are nonprofit, but right, we have all of those resources. So find something that's near you, um, and apply for those things. Free community meals and pop-up pantries. That's a big deal. A lot of churches do stuff like that too,
Mhm.
which is pretty cool. Revisit your monthly budget with support. So, 211 financial counseling is available. One of the things too, and I'll just share I'll be a little vulnerable. My husband and I are trying to get our finances in order ever since, honestly, the flood and then having a kiddo. And we actually reached out to our church to see if they had resources for financial support. Not support like give, I mean, sometimes churches will give you money, but like more support around how to manage finances and moving forward and all of that, a lot of nonprofits, but specifically churches, have people who donate their time to help people figure out good ways to continue to maintain and manage themselves as they're going through something like this. So look into resources. It can feel overwhelming, like I said at the beginning, but they are there. And bring a friend to
Mhm.
appointments or to calls for emotional support. I mean, shoot, Janine literally was on the phone with me when I called to figure out a dentist bill.
You bet.
And this
She
was,
conference called me in. It was amazing.
I did. I was like, this is, I don't even know what I told them. I was like, this is my financial billing friend. She knows a lot about it.
Yeah, you were like, do I say that you're like a lawyer? And I was like, no.
But I did tell them that you work in financial billing.
Medical billing, because I do.
Medical, that's what I meant. Sorry,
Yeah,
medical billing.
medical billing. I
And
do.
they sure as hell gave me a bill of zero.
They absolutely did. And I said, can you please send her a receipt to her email that shows client balances or patient balance is zero for her records, please and thank you. Yes.
Yes.
Um,
So have a buddy. Buddies are
I was just
helpful.
thinking that as you were saying that, I love to help anybody anytime with this kind of crap because well, I want to do something. If things feel overwhelming and
Hmm.
if and this is not everyone, so if this is not you, it's okay. But I like to jump in there and do something and get protective. But even co-working with a buddy is so good, which leads into maintaining your work identity and
Hmm.
momentum, even if you're furloughed. So
Hmm.
that means, like Nat said earlier, keeping the same schedule, but also, but volunteering or skill building to maintain just the sense of purpose and competence. That's what our buddy's doing who's furloughed. He's picked up a few more clients where we
Yeah.
work and he's really digging into some stuff, doing some training and also, you can update when you're feeling okay. Like, let's say you have a few hours in the morning of existential dread, and then you kind of have a yummy lunch and you get a little pep in your step for a minute.
Mhm.
Update your resume or do something with that time
Yeah.
as your energy ebbs and flows.
Yeah. And, honestly, right now is this is about the time when people are hiring for temp jobs for the holidays.
Yep.
So if you're sitting there and you're like, what do I do? Go apply at malls, to be honest.
Well, yeah, and you can dump that job that when you go back to your day job, but you gotta
Exactly.
find something if you can.
Yeah. Yeah. But there's a lot of temp jobs right now happening because, especially retail, because of the holidays. So, and Black Friday's coming up. So
Mm,
go get something if you can. If you start working tomorrow, you start working tomorrow at your regular job, but at least you'll have a plan.
absolutely.
Manage media intake. Oh my gosh, I think everyone should do this regardless of like the world ending or not.
Screw the news. It's horrible. Just let the comet take me out.
For real. Um, Constant crisis news worsens our panic. You guys, if we are consistently taking things in,
Mhm.
it's not going to help our nervous system. Honestly, just be mindful of that. I will be my family, my parents, they're kind of not, I shouldn't say it this way, but I'm gonna, they're
Mm.
kind of like doomsday people a little bit.
Well, yeah.
So they like constantly have the news on, and I will tell you, when I leave their house, I have so much more anxiety than when I got there because they just have constant news on. I
Yes.
have to be mindful and tell them, hey, we're not one, I don't want Grace watching a bunch of screens, but two,
Mm.
the anxiety behind what we put in front of our face. Also, doom scrolling, not healthy for our brain, not healthy for our body. We also start to see things like we assume that people have it so much better than us, and that increases our chances of depression and anxiety. So be really, really mindful of that. Manage your phone, manage your TV, go for walks. I'm a big mind and movement, like our brain, what I do with my body is going to benefit my brain, and what I put in my brain is going to benefit my body. So, be really mindful, especially while your system is in a vulnerable space, right? Go
I
into
love
it
that.
intentional and have a little bit of a plan. Even if that just means getting outside and sitting on your front porch. Cool. Do it.
And check on your quiet friends because the loud friends, I usually am the loud friend, so I can speak on this with authority.
Mm-hmm.
People who communicate easily and frequently think they're so stressed and that their blood pressure is so high and whatever else, and that may be true. But in my experience, particularly in couples counseling, the one who's quieter sometimes actually has the higher heart rate and the higher blood pressure than the person who's freaking out. And so if your partner or friend is getting quiet and maybe they're doom scrolling and they're getting more and more and more quiet, um, pull them out a little bit. Check in with them and pull them out. On the note of managing our biometrics and our our blood pressure, et cetera, one of the coolest things I've seen, there's a million grounding techniques. Google grounding. ChatGPT can help you with this one for sure. This one therapists won't even be doing someday, I don't think, because we're gonna teach ourselves. But one of the coolest ones I've learned, besides box breathing and the ones that everybody talks about, is to inhale something positive and exhale something negative. And I
Mm-hmm.
actually have some books and things that I love that have this kind of a meditation. Andi Kolber, I'm going to have her on someday. She's one of my dear friends from grad school. She wrote Try Softer and Strong Like Water, both of those books.
Mm-hmm.
And she frequently posts really cool meditations where it's like breathe in strength, breathe out fear.
I love that.
So you're breathing in, and it's not like this hokey, I'm picturing this thing or whatever, but it's just, oh, I'm gonna fill my lungs with air and strength, and I'm gonna breathe out the fear that I'm feeling. And it will start to bring your brain back online. And
Yeah.
then there's a million free apps out there that are super helpful. I like the Calm app that made me breathe with my Apple Watch
Mm-hmm.
because I don't breathe. This is one of the things that I learned is I certainly don't breathe deeply.
Right.
Um, most of us don't, honestly. But putting your hand on your chest and thinking something positive or picturing something that brings you comfort or peace and just breathing. Another thing that's really cool is to think about people in your family who've gone through hard times historically, who got through it. Like none of
Mm-hmm.
this is brand new. My grandmother, Belle, started businesses during the Depression when her husband died suddenly. Like the women, if I even just internalize that, the women in my family are strong and industrious
Mm-hmm.
and organized. That kind of positive meditation or marinating on a good thought about myself and resilience, my own resilience, is going to help me feel more ready to face the challenge that I'm up
Mm-hmm.
against.
Mm-hmm. That's huge. I love that.
Hmm.
Leaning into community, you guys, this is huge. Don't do this by yourself. Chances are, right? We have like Janine said, our friend slash colleague is, you know, I sense some anxiety from him, but he would never say it.
No, he's so
He's such a
lovely.
positive human, but he's really engaged with us. And I'm hoping he's also like talking to people on his team and people from his work
Oh, I'm
because you're not
sure.
alone in it, right? Like you're not alone and you're not the only one feeling what you're feeling. And so it's okay to be vulnerable and share like, "Hey, I'm a little nervous."
It's getting
Or
long. That's what I saw in him today is, hey, it's getting a little long
it's getting a
now.
little long.
It was long the first week, but it's really feeling long now.
Right, right. And not knowing when it's gonna, when things are gonna feel a little bit better. So lean on community. Support groups are huge, faith-based networks, parent resource centers. So finding, individuals in similar life stages, mutual aid groups, all of it, right? It's important to just make sure you are connecting. One, honestly, like the emotional, like just knowing you're not alone helps the emotional state that you're in. But then also, people might have some resources, right? So if someone's like, hey, you know what? I picked up like a painting job with a contractor, and like it's not, it's temporary. It's like, as it's job based, not necessarily having to sign up for a brand new, W-2, go through all that type of job, right? Maybe you can find something that's super, super temporary and totally just job based.
We see this in our groups where people
Yeah.
connect and hook each other up with opportunities when they're going through a tough time. And y'all got to know something. Nat and I are scrappy as hell. So, we have degrees and we have these jobs that are wonderful, but I guarantee you, if something happens, Nat and I are going to mobilize partially with each other because we're buds.
Hmm.
And we have other friends too, and we're going to put our heads together and try really hard to come up with something. So
Hmm.
go find your industrious friend or your person who maybe happened to hold on to their job and all this craziness and see if you can't swing over to something for a while. There might be
Right.
something there.
Right.
One thing that I saw, I think I saw an article about this last week. I need to find it. Maybe we can post it. But the family dynamics are huge during a time like this when
Mm.
we're under stress. Between partners, intimate partners, having short, kind check-ins about what's going on is huge. I was helping a couple with this today. That is really important, and clear roles. Who's handling what? Maybe even simplify it. When you're under a lot of stress, it's too hard to pass the ball back and forth. So it's like, hey, babe, I got the dishes for the next 3 weeks. I'm just going to do this thing that I don't mind as much as you. Can you handle the laundry? And we're not batting it back and forth. We're less likely to get into an argument. With children, you cannot completely insulate them from what's happening because they're still going to see the stress in you. And so it's really good. You don't need to share with them what's happening and you want to keep things developmentally appropriate, but it's really okay to reassure them in simple ways. So that might look like, this is tough, but the adults are working on it. You're safe. We tell Mac all the time, we've got you. When Gare lost when Gare lost his job, oh, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years ago. A year and a half, really only a year and a half ago, it was a hard time for our family. And we go to back to school night, and Mac had put on one of the things that got hung up. It was like an owl or something. Three things about your family.
Hmm.
And like one of the things was my dad lost his job. And I was just so like heartbroken. It was also a little bit hilarious. But he felt that. He felt that even as a kid. And we did our best to make that not
Hmm.
his problem. But kids are tracking into all of these things. And so
Hmm.
you reassure them. Don't avoid it. If you avoid it, it almost creates more fear than reassuring them.
Right. This is huge, you guys. Knowing crisis signs. So seek professional help or crisis support if you're feeling trapped or worthless most days. There might be times where you feel, again, like some of that panic and doomsday type of emotions. But if you're feeling that way more often than not, seek some support, right? Ask around. The reason I love where we work is, one, we are a nonprofit because um we give subsidies for individuals to be able to afford therapy, and we have different levels of therapists to meet literally every need that comes in. So seek out places like us that have financial support that can really help you get what you need, um, for literally, if you can't pay anything, for like nothing for at least a short period of time. Um, I don't know what, Janine, maybe you would know this. Since people are furloughed, could they probably can't get Medicaid right now. Okay.
I think that their medical benefits are still in force for most
Hmm.
of them. And Garrett is actually going to drop us some resources for military folks specifically.
Mm.
because he has those, and we can pop those up on socials. But I believe most of them still have access. Now, the
Okay.
guys, even in our group, we're talking about all the differences. Like some are still being paid their VA pay, but they don't get paid this other pay, whatever. It's different for everybody, but
Yeah. Yeah. But look into
pay for
those
the home
things.
medical. Yeah.
Yeah. If you have panic attacks and increased panic attacks, be really mindful of that. Suicidal thoughts or inability to care for yourself or your children. Guys, this is really big. Okay. Don't let it go down this path. Try to catch it before you get too far in. That's why people are here. And here's what I'm going to say. There are a lot of people out there who are willing to potentially do for short term subsidized or pro bono sessions to help people in crisis, especially right now. So reach out. Um, one of the phrases that I love is you miss every shot you don't take. So advocate for yourself. If you have needs, but you don't know where to start, just reach out. Lifeline is 988. You can call or text, I guess that. I did not know that. That's cool.
Yeah.
The domestic violence hotline is 1-800-799-SAFE. And then local 211 connected food, housing, legal/financial help. So there are some resources out there for you guys just in that. And again, don't be afraid to ask community systems. You know, if you're in Colorado, DM us. Both
Mhm.
Janine and I now have access to our Instagram.
It's an hour-long project, but yes, we do both.
Longer than an hour, girl.
Yeah, it
Oh
was
my
more like an
God.
hour and a half. We were
It was
champions.
awful.
Yes.
But we can both help you with that. So if you're in Colorado, we can do our best.
Yeah, and you guys, you are worthy of help and support. I think that's the biggest thing. And we tend to shrink down when things are hard. And I just want to encourage you that if you're in a position to give right now because things are okay, please find a way to give, particularly to food banks, because I think that is really what I'm hearing working with vulnerable people every day. What I'm hearing is food
Mhm.
scarcity and fear around having food. And
Mhm.
then the other thing is really just keeping an eye on mental health stuff. If you're in a stable place and you have a friend that's struggling, just check in on the friend. And we don't do that. Therapists are wild. In a
Mhm.
first session, we're like, when's the last time you thought about killing yourself? And everybody's like, well, you're not going to plant that thought in somebody's head.
Mm-mm.
Asking the question is always safer than not asking that question. And particularly with our military folks, the suicide rate is higher, and we want to take really good care of these people. And so it's okay to ask that question. They're not going to be probably as thrown as you think they will if you're worried about them. And yeah, if you need the help, take it. So thanks for joining us. I hope this is encouraging in some ways. Our goal is not to minimize or oversimplify how you can deal with these things, but just to give some resources and to at least acknowledge that this is a pretty stressful time right now for a lot of folks. And we have the holidays coming up. So hope this is helpful. DM us if we can give you more information, and we will see you on Friday.
As always.
Bye, forensic friends. I'm Janine.
And I'm Nat.
And as always, thanks for listening, and join us next week for more crime, psychology, and heart.